welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books I've read in the last 3 months. That was the first half of 2021 and it has been amazing. That's the highest number of books I've ever read in 3 months. That's 18, you guys. 18 books, actually 18 and a half. But we'll get back to that later. So, and since I have been a little absent on YouTube, so I thought I'll do a video about this. But there is just one slight issue, that there is construction going on near my place, and there might be occasional construction noises in the video because I don't have a noise cancellation mic. I know, right? Anyways, without further ado, first book which I read in 2021 was The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and it was the winner of Goodreads Award thriller category. And I am really sorry to say, and it breaks my heart to say, that it was not worth it. I mean, I don't know how it became the winner, who voted for that book. I mean, I've read 3 books from that category. I haven't read all, so I won't even be the judge of who should the winner be. But the other books were Home Before Dark and Sundown Motel, and those 2 books were way better than this one. It's a story about a wedding party being held on an island, and one of them is murdered, and it's not revealed until the mid half, I guess, who is murdered and who murdered him or her. And as well, the author has really well put forward the insecurities of all the guests attending the wedding. That is one thing I really liked. But I think that's all, and no, maybe 2.5 or 3 out of 5. After that, I reread Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, the Half-Blood Prince. And it was amazing as always. I'm not supporting J.K. Rowling, so I would not suggest you buy anything which indirectly funds her or something, if you know of all that took place. But if you already have any book or already own a copy, Harry Potter is the one thing which gives me solace. So I would recommend rereading it, because obviously it was a 5 out of 5 stars, and I don't need to be its lawyer and sell that book any more than it already has been. So the next book which I read was the pick for our book for my book club, the non-fiction book club that I host. If you want to be a part, you can always DM me. Subtle hints. Anyways, it was Cyber Sexy. It is a collection of essays by the author Richa Paul, if I'm pronouncing her name right. Sorry, Richa Call. I'm so sorry. She talks about her research which she's done about pornography, the ban, what's the boons, and the pros and cons basically of pornography. And she has done in-person interviews with I think 10 to 20 interviewees, and reading them is really an eye-opener. I mean, I did not know the impact porn has on certain aspects of people's lives, and to put it out front, to read about it, it was really amazing. And I would definitely suggest that you pick that book up, even though it's a non-fic. It's a 5 out of 5. 4 books actually. They are a part of a series which I was so lucky to finally pick up, is the Ember in the Ashes series. I mean, I don't know if you guys know it, that I am an absolute fan after reading that series. I read the first book, it was good. Second was way better. Third, again way better. And the finale was, oh my god. I mean, not every author can outdo themselves with every book of their own. And this Sabaa Tahir has done such fabulous work. Like, I am not exactly a fantasy lover, and too much fantasy is not my cup of tea, but reading Sabaa Tahir's work, and just the way she has incorporated thriller, politics, and fantasy, and then YA touch, and then there's a subtle hint of romance. Everything is so good. I think it's a definite recommendation for me. So the next 4 books I read were her series: An Ember in the Ashes, Torch Against the Night, Reaper at the Gates, and The Sky Beyond the Storm. The names are amazing, this book is amazing, and if I cannot say it enough, I'll say it again and again. Please read this book, which was The House of Islam. I had been meaning to read it since the time it had released. I mean, when it released, there was so much hype about this book, but I have read certain books like that. The construction noise is bad. I have read books about specific religion before, and they don't always tend to turn out to be good, but this one, man, there was no prejudice. There was no the author had nothing in his heart like I'm going to sell my religion to you, I'm going to tell you how good it is. There was nothing of that sort in this book. It was just plain facts which he has noted down in such relatable language, in such relatable terms. Like he has answered questions which today's generation has about Islam, and he's answered them with instances, with examples, with history. So it's purely amazing. Again, 515 for this. And if you are a history buff and you would like to be a little more aware about certain religions, then this book is perfect for you. Okay, so next up I read Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. Again, this was my book club's pick. I've been reading a lot of non-fiction thanks to my book club, because that's what's the goal. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, so Born a Crime, again I would give this a 4 out of 5, even though I'm nobody to judge his life and everything. But it was marketed as if it was his autobiography, right? But it was just a collection of, it's more of a memoir. Yeah, so it's just a collection of his childhood stories, and he's just penned them down. And I expected he would, tell the part where how he moved to America and how he became this big shot daily show host, but that part is not there. I think he's writing follow-up books to cover those parts as well. But if we just talk about Born a Crime, even though it's the writing is just exemplary, and the stories are heartwarming and it's heartbreaking as well. And it's just, I can't tell you how the way he begins each story, each chapter, I mean, and the way he goes on and attracts you in, lets you dive into it, get used to the atmosphere, and then he tells you, okay, so this actually happened, and how discrimination was a huge part of his childhood, considering he was of mixed race. And even though he lived in a black community, how he was discriminated against, what things and steps his mother had to do or take to secure his childhood, they're just mind blowing. So I would definitely recommend this book to you, but don't read it, dive in to it like I did, thinking it's an autobiography. I had the immense pleasure to read Lovely War by Julie Berry. I thank the people at my office to have introduced me to this book, because it was such a beautiful book. I am a Greek mythology lover, and this book is told from the POV of your Greek gods, and it's a love story spanning World War II, and it's like a dance. It just flows and flows and flows, and you want to know more. Like, you want to dance more. You're tired, but you still want to go ahead. It's just sheer beauty, and I would definitely recommend it to fans of historical fiction, mythology, as well as romance. Yeah, Sea of Strangers by Lang Leave. I am so sorry. Not every collection is relatable. There are very rare collections which I can resonate with, and this one was not it. There were only some poems which were good for me. Obviously, all the poems were good, but I mean, I could relate to only some of them, so that's why I did not enjoy this book that much. So yeah, disclaimer before reading this book, I gave it a 3 on 5. I have things to say about this one. Next up is Rebel Spy by Veronica Ross. Okay, I love reading thrillers, and I love reading spy thrillers, to be specific, and this one was endorsed and marketed as spy thriller. It is the retelling of the life of Agent 355 during the American Revolution. Now, first things first, the best part was that this was my first book based on American Revolution, so I actually enjoyed that part. And to be honest, I liked the book. It was fast paced, the story was more of contemporary rather than a spy thriller. There was no thrill, by the way, in this. There was zero thrill, there is no thrill. It's just a good book and a very good retelling, but the marketing was done as such that it was a spy thriller, and I dived into it thinking that it's a spy thriller, but it wasn't. So if I did not have that prejudice, I would have really enjoyed this book, but I did have pre-expectations, so I did not end up enjoying it that much. So I give this book a 3 out of 5 stars, even though the story itself is very. Next up is the story of silence. Again, the marketing of this book and as well as the author did some mistakes in not specifying certain things about the story beforehand, which should be known beforehand. I think so. So first off, Story of Silence is a retelling of a French poem written in 1619, if I'm not wrong. And this thing that it's a retelling of that poem is not mentioned anywhere throughout the book, and it would have been lovely to have the actual poem at the beginning or at the end of the book, because when you read this book, the ending of this book is as such that if you haven't read the poem, you won't exactly understand what the ending is. So thank God I had midway through the book googled about that poem and read that poem, so I was able to understand the ending very well. I really, apart from these things, I really enjoyed the book. The writing is very nice, even though it gets a lot descriptive halfway through the book and you get bored and you tend to skip pages, but the essence of the story is very nice. The author has retold that poem according to today's generation, and I can't say a lot without giving spoilers, so I would just say that there is LGBTQ representation in this book, and which has been done flawlessly, like flawlessly. So if you want to read a book of certain type of which has LGBTQ representation, then please pick this book up, but do read the original poem beforehand and only then dive into this book. That's all. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 because it gets a little boring somewhere. Next book which I read was Fangirl. Yeah, I know it before you judge me and say, oh my god, you hadn't read that book. Yeah, I live under a rock. I have not read a lot of popular books from the past 10 years, I guess. Anyway, so I'm trying to cover that up, and Fangirl was the first step in that. So Fangirl is, do I need to say something about it? It is a story of a girl who writes fanfic about her favorite novel, and she's quite popular in the fanfic world, but in the real world she's an introvert, and it's a beautiful story. I really like it, although I would have preferred if the fan fiction part, which the author has incorporated really well, but if it could have been in less amount in the book, that would have been lovely, because I was not able to relate to the fanfic part. Like, I was not enjoying it as much as the real storyline, like the book storyline about Kat, Levy, her roommate, and everybody. Also, Kat's roommate is a badass. Loved her. Fresh indeed. It's a meet cute, and it's just the perfect read for a Sunday brunch sort of. And yeah, I really liked it. It's a 4 on 5. Piranesi, which was not even on my TBR, but I purely picked it up because of the cover. The naked hardback was so beautiful. I bought that book, and I'm not sure. I mean, there is no message in the book, if I have to say. It's just a story, and which you can read and let go of. It will not add anything to your life, but it's a good twisted story is what I'll say. It's of a guy named Piranesi living in a world which he also does not know much of, so he's discovering that world. But one day he realizes that somebody from his past is trying to contact him, and well, it tumbles down from there. The ending is quite satisfying. I liked it, but I'm not really a fan of this book and the author. So there was this for me. So I give this book a 3 on 5. As I said, I am trying to read all the popular books of the last 10 years. So The Boy in the Striped Pajamas was the step 2 towards it. It's a perfect read. It is marketed as a children's book, but I would not suggest it to children, because they would not understand what, like, the author has dialed down a lot of instances of the Holocaust. Sometimes if you don't have pre-knowledge of these instances, you might not even understand these instances. From the fact that obviously some instances have not been explained properly because it's a children's book. The story itself is heartwarming, heartbreaking, and oh my god, it's a short read, but it has such a strong impact on the reader. So yeah, if you're looking to get out of your reading slump and you need a fast-paced short story, which is also very impactful, then this book is the one for you. The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett, and oh my god, it is such a beautiful book. Oh my god, I read Litfic after so long, and I mean, it is a story of two twin girls who are separated, I would say, by life, right? Because one takes another path and the other takes other path, and but how their decisions tune their life and how the next generation gets affected by it. And I'm a bad explainer as it is, and I don't know how well I can explain a beautiful story. It's just purely beautiful. So if you're looking for your next read, this is the book I would hands down recommend to you. It's 5 on 5 for now. Bye guys. If you enjoyed my video, don't forget to subscribe.